Oh boy, don't you love seeing it end in a scuffle? Oh, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Sunday Night Postgame Show. AP here, Al Burrell here on the Rec Room Sports Network. Just me tonight. Scott is out in Boston, of course. They do have TNA did have Bound for Glory in Boston tonight. Scott is attending. Big night for them. The retirement match for the Team 3D, aka the Dudleys tonight. So yeah, Scott's out there doing that. Me, it's just me by myself. I don't know if Tanner will hop in, but I don't know. Pretty good game overall tonight. I guess it's safe to say that the Chiefs are back. Kansas City had a great game plan tonight, played great all around. 30-17 win. And again, Detroit, so many injuries on that defense, so many things you would like to see a little bit better. Obviously, the play there at the beginning of the game where they got the penalty on the illegal formation on the touchdown pass to Goff, that was called back. That kind of set the tone for the entire night. Chiefs kind of ran with it from there. So it was a close game until about the fourth quarter. Then Kansas City started to pull away a little bit. Final score 30-17. Lions 4-2 on the season. Kansas City 3-3, and they get Rashee Rice back next week. So now you're going to see Kansas City at full strength, which this is why a lot of Chiefs fans over the last couple weeks were not panicking. That's why we saw Tanner, who's one of our big Chiefs fans here on this network, was not panicking, was not, worried for anything. And this is why we saw it tonight. Patrick Mahomes taking care of business tonight. The offense was okay. Running game is still kind of spotty at times, but they're figuring out, they're getting things in order. You've got a really solid offensive line that you're working behind. And again, like I said earlier, you're getting Rashee Rice back next week, which that's just going to make this team even more dangerous going forward. A lot of headlines in the NFL today. I guess we could start with what happened at the end of this game. Brian Branch, my guy, I know you're upset. I know you're frustrated with how this night went. But for the love of God, man, don't be taking it out on the opposition. Don't be doing things so recklessly, because again, that's just going to cost you money. That's going to get you in trouble. The NFL is probably going to fine him after that. It's just poor sportsmanship. I get it. You lost. You're dealing with a lot of injuries, like I said, on the back end of that defense. Thankfully, though, for Detroit, it looks like some of those players are going to come back this year, so it's not a total loss for them this year. They are headed into the tough part of their schedule here pretty soon, though. So it might be a little bit of a rough road for the Detroit Lions going forward, but hey, that's just what we have to deal with, right? That's what we have to deal with in this NFL schedule. So Detroit's one of the better teams in the NFL, and I'm sure Dan Campbell will address some of the stuff that happened tonight. They'll get things straightened out. Guys will get healthy. They'll probably make a mid to late season run and still be a playoff team. So I don't think there's any worry for Detroit even after tonight's loss, so it should be fine. Kansas City, same thing. They're 3-3. They're getting Rashee Rice back. They got the Raiders next week. Should be a win. I know the Raiders got a big win today at home. A lot of things going on with that team. But Kansas City looked pretty good tonight. Little concerned, I guess you could say, about Harrison Butker. He's, missed a kick in each game almost this year. I asked a couple of Chiefs fans if he was going through the yips this year, and they're just typical Harrison Butker fashion as far as what's going on with him. So, Kansas City looks pretty good tonight, all things considered. As we get go on from here. One of the big stories coming out of this week, Tua Tagovailoa. I want to root for this kid. I really want to root for him so bad. He's been through a lot. He's dealt with so many injuries since coming into the NFL. But what he did today, post-game against the Chargers today, is something you just cannot do as a professional player. Tua basically called out his entire team to the media post-game in that loss to the Chargers today, saying guys were not being accountable, guys were not showing up to meetings, guys weren't showing up late to player-only meetings, and stuff like. And then what makes it even worse is that their head coach Mike McDaniel just kind of brushes it under the rug and doesn't think it's a big deal. It is a big deal because you're letting your players run the asylum at this point, and you're not taking hold of this team like you should be. I would not be surprised here in the coming days if Mike McDaniel is without a job. I think he's definitely one of the coaches on a very, very hot seat right now. In fact, if not for Brian Callahan in Tennessee, I think Mike McDaniel has the hottest seat in the NFL. But the whole that whole thing with Tennessee and Brian Callahan, that's a whole nother thing. The Titans, I don't know what's going on with them. Like, there's no energy, there's no focus, and then Callahan it just seems like he's making excuses for why his team is not playing well. It's just a bad vibe in Tennessee right now, and I am on the bandwagon of the fire Callahan train, as many Tennessee Titans fans are at this point. So, yeah, that's just something. There's a lot of drama going on in the NFL right now. A lot of it coming into with the bad teams. Pre-game the post-game last week with Rico Dowdle. I would say that was kind of a soft jab, but you know what? He backed it up today, and he had nearly another 200-yard rush day with Carolina today. Carolina big win at home against Dallas. So, hey, Michael Edwards, what's up, man? Hope you're doing well, man. Hey, no problem. Just trying to give some insight on what we saw today and what we saw for the week, man. It was crazy week in the NFL, and I mean it started on Thursday. It started Thursday night. Eagles do not look great. They look all out of sorts. Giants looked phenomenal Thursday night. Cam Scatterboo is a dog. Like, that guy is – I am so upset that we couldn't draft him because he is just that awesome to watch. I mean, I talked about this on a couple shows throughout the week. He basically carried that team, carried that Arizona State team in the playoff. Nearly single-handedly beat Texas by himself in that playoff game. So he is a phenomenal player to watch. Hey, man, no problem. Always here. But yeah, crazy week. And then you just kind of felt that the vibe today was going to be off when you started watching the London game. Could there have been any worse game than what we saw from the Broncos and Jets today? Like, that has to be like one of the worst games that we've seen all season long. It was horrendous. Jets are awful. Broncos, I don't know why they play down to their competition. It is unbelievable. James, I can't lie. After what I saw tonight, it may be a long day for Vegas next week, especially when Rashee Rice comes back. It is not going to be pretty. It is not going to be pretty at all when KC goes to Vegas next week. So, but yeah, rough day for the NFL. I mean, we still had some good games, still had some good performances. Baltimore still looks like trash without Lamar Jackson. Drake May looked great today. Arizona actually giving The Colts a little bit of a fight today. Again, Carolina with the upset win at home over Dallas. Dallas' defense still can't stop air at this point. It's getting ridiculous. Baker Mayfield continues to play at a high level. I think right now, if you were to ask a good portion of football fans right now, they would say that Baker Mayfield is probably the front runner for MVP, just because of how high of a level he's played at all season long, and the fact that if not for him, the Buccaneers would not be in a lot of the games that they are playing this year. So, kudos to him for how great he's playing. Packers got a big win against the Bengals, even though they almost let the Bengals back into that game. Yeah, Michael, that game was. I think I described it earlier. It's like watching a car wreck go into a dumpster fire. That's basically what that was like. It was not fun to watch. It was a horrible, horrible experience. At 13-11, like, that's the best we can do. I'm sorry to all the London fans that had to watch that game. It is insane. But yeah, we still got 2 games to go for the week. You got Buffalo going to Atlanta tomorrow night, which, by the way, Atlanta has another Sunday night game. How are they keep getting these primetime games? I don't know. But yeah, you got the Falcons and 49ers next Sunday night, and we'll be previewing that here towards the end of the show. And then, of course, you got Chicago and Washington, the second Monday night game tomorrow night as well. Why are they still doing 2 Monday night games? We're already midway through the season. Why are we still doing 2 Monday night games? And we got 2 Monday night games next week, too, which is – okay. We got to get better at this scheduling stuff, NFL, like, for real. It's getting kind of out of hand, if you ask me. But, yeah, going through some of the stats tonight, Detroit, on the Detroit side, Jared Goff, 23-29, 203 passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. He was only sacked once. Solid performance for him. Jahmyr Gibbs, 17 carries, 65 yards. David Montgomery, 4 for 24. That was a big reason why the Lions offense couldn't get going tonight. The running game was not what we've seen it in the past. Kansas City did a great job at slowing down the run game tonight. A big factor of why Detroit was not able to get points on the board tonight. Jameson Williams, 6 for 66 and a touchdown. Sam Laporta, 5 for 55 and a touchdown. Amon-Ra only 9 for 45. So, yeah, they held the Lions offense in check for the most part. So, solid effort. Stat-wise, not a bad night for Detroit offensively, but it's still kind of a long road ahead. Again, a lot of injuries on defense, which is why they couldn't really stop Kansas City for a good majority of the game. But, you get healthy here in the next couple weeks. Maybe it'll help things out. Kansas City side of things, Patrick Mahomes, 22 of 30, 256, 3 touchdown passes, was sacked 3 times tonight. QB rating of 132.2. Not a bad night for him. Isaiah Pacheco, 12 for 51. Again, Kansas City's running game, pretty much a non-factor throughout most of the night. Travis Kelce, big night for him, 6 for 78. Nearly got dropped on his head earlier tonight, but, still able to have a pretty good night tonight. Hollywood Brown, Marquise Brown, 4 for 45, 2 touchdowns, and Xavier Worthy with the 3rd touchdown catch on the night. So big thing to keep an eye on, though. As I mentioned earlier, Harrison Butker did miss an extra point. It seems like he's missing a lot of easy kicks lately. Don't know how much of a factor this will play into, but you never know. It's been a lot of special team snafus throughout the season so far. It hasn't been good. It hasn't been good. Looking at Detroit's schedule, my God, another primetime game for the Lions next week. They have the early Monday night game next week against Tampa Bay. Bucks coming off that big win at home. They will travel to Detroit for the Monday night game next week. You got Minnesota after that. Then you go to Washington, and then you've got Philadelphia You got a bye week in there as well. I think you got your bye week between the Tampa and Minnesota games. So you got Tampa Bay coming into Detroit next week. You got your bye week, and then you got Minnesota, Washington, Philly. Like I said, it is the rough part of their schedule is coming up here, and then you've got a Giants team who's feisty, Green Bay at home, Dallas in 1st of December, and then which that's going to be on a Thursday night, and then you got Rams, Steelers, Vikings, Bears to end the season. So a lot of tough games coming up for Detroit. Hopefully they can get healthy here at the right time, maybe make a little bit of a run, and, of course, get into the postseason. But the Kansas City Chiefs, we've kind of talked about it already. They have the Vegas coming in to Kansas City next week with the return of Rashee Rice. Following that, they have the Commanders on a Monday night. Why does Washington get 2 Monday night games in the next 3 weeks? I will never know. Then after that, they go to Buffalo, to Denver, with a bye week squeezed in the middle. And then you got the Colts at Dallas on Thanksgiving, Houston, Chargers, Titan at Tennessee, which the Titans, again, that's speaking of dumpster fire. Final Thursday night game against the Broncos. They host Denver for that game. And then at the Raiders, week 18 to close out the season. So Kansas City looks like they could be going on a bit of a run here. We'll see how they look with Rashee Rice next week. It is the Raiders, so I'm expecting them to win. So no harm, no foul there. Give me 1 second, guys. Whew, what a night, right? What a day. What week are we in? Week 6? Yeah. Week 6 game balls. As we know, we give out 2 game balls every week for our players of the week. Doesn't have to necessarily be for the Sunday night games. It could be for any game this week. And my 2 game balls, first one is going to go to Cam Scattaboo, 3-touchdown performance Thursday night against the Giants, or not against the Giants, but against the Eagles. Him and Jackson Dart look like they are going to have a grip on that franchise for the foreseeable future. Their chemistry is phenomenal, and I can't wait to see how they build that up. Unfortunately, I am a Cowboys fan, so I'm also a little bit nervous now anytime that we face them. So that's going to be fun. And then the second game ball, you know what? As much as I hate doing it, second game ball is going to Rico Dowdle. Second week in a row, Scott gave one of his game balls to Rico last week. My second game ball is going to go to Rico Dowdle. He talked the talk and he walked the walk today. Over 200 plus rushing yards against a hapless Dallas defense. Second week in a row that I don't know. He might be the only running back who's had 200 plus yard games back to back in this kind of format. So kudos to Rico. He's done well. Looks like he might be the feature back for Carolina going forward. He definitely has earned it for sure. So second game ball will be Rico Dowdle. Yeah. Scattabos. He's a character, man. He's definitely a character. Phenomenal player to watch. It's going to suck going up against him next time. He did play well against us too. So not looking forward to that matchup when it comes back around. But yeah, those are our 2 game balls for the week. Couple others you could probably throw out there potentially. You know, Drake May had a great game today for the Patriots. Patrick Mahomes tonight. Baker Mayfield, of course, again, doing it as he always does. But yeah, phenomenal week 6. A little bit unorthodox with some of the things we saw this week. Hey, they're a legit offense. Their defense is Swiss cheese. Like, and I'm glad you pointed this out because I've been wanting to rant about this for a while, and I've ranted about it in the past. I'm not a fan of Matt Eberflus. I was not a fan when he came in. I was hoping, with the personnel that we had, maybe he can make some magic shine. Obviously, Micah got traded to Green Bay, so that kind of put a niche in the plan. You saw what they were able to do against a terrible team in the Jets last week. And the Jets are just awful. They're an awful, awful team. But looking at this week, I'm not sold on Eberflus. The formations he has set. I know we have some injuries on the back end. I know we have some injuries at linebacker, but you still have to put your players in the best position to succeed. And it seems like nobody on the defense is buying into what Eberflus is trying to preach. It's bad enough when you know that they're going to run the football and you have your linebackers 7 yards off the ball. It is not a good look. It is not a good way of getting of keeping your job at this point, of teaching these guys what they need to be taught. So, and I know a lot of people are going to talk about the corners. I don't think the corners had a bad game today. Diggs was actually pretty decent today. Bland had a couple miscues, especially on that fourth down play. Why are you 10 yards back on a 4th and 4 and then backpedaling afterwards? This is the thing. The Cowboys secondary is so worried about getting beat deep. They are playing that Eberflus is having them play 10 yards off the line of scrimmage, which is stupid. Like, your two best corners are great in man coverage. They need to be up on the ball in a man stance. I like a little bit of what I saw from Reddy Stewart today. It seems like there's a reason why he's kind of on the lower part of the depth chart. I'm not sold on Kyer Elam at all. I don't want him here. I'm really hoping that we get Kalen Carson back pretty soon because I think he would help out. The Marvin Overshone I definitely miss. I think he would be a big, big boost for the defense when he comes back. But I don't think Eberflus should be coaching this defense. I don't think he should be in Dallas by Monday morning. Like, we've seen it now for a majority of weeks now. And to put this in perspective of what we've seen over the course of just the last 3 weeks, just today, the Jets game, and then the tie with Green Bay, Dak Prescott has thrown for over 800 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 pick in the last 3 games. The defense has given up 92 total points. You can't keep relying on the offense to just win you games. You have to make stops. You have to get turnovers. You have to get pressure on the quarterback. Bryce Young had ample time. Ample time to pass the. And Michael, I see your comment about Micah, but I'll get to that here in a sec. But I think at this point, it's just like the philosophy that you have. It's not working. Guys aren't bought into it. And here's the thing with Micah. I don't even think having Micah on this team makes any difference. I think it's still the same defense we've seen all year long, even with Micah on this team. Because if you look at what he's doing in Green Bay right now, he's not been that productive for the Packers. It's been the guys around him. It's been guys like Lucas Van Ness. It's been guys like Devontae Wyatt. A lot of the linebackers have been playing well. Micah's a solid player. I don't think having him on this defense would have made it much of a difference, which is why part of me was okay with trading him and getting what we could for him. My problem is, why did we wait till a week before the season to make that move, if that was ultimately what we were going to do? It's a totally different situation now. I know a lot of people are going to continue to throw the Micah story out there. Maybe the Cowboys defense looks different. I don't think it looks any different even with Micah on this team. Linebackers can't cover. Defense backs can't cover. They can't stop the run. It's the same old, same old. Until they get a new defensive philosophy in Dallas, it's just going to be the same old for years to come. And that's unfortunate because you looked at them in 2021. They had all the recipe in 2021 to finally be the team that broke this curse. You had a good defense, and your offense was playing very, very well. The thing that killed them was penalties. They were the most penalized team in the NFL in 2021. And then, of course, we got to go to the wild card game against Green Bay where the Packers completely destroyed them. I'm pretty sure every team in the NFL took videotape from that game specifically, and that's now how they play the Cowboys from here on out. That's funny. I like that, Michael. I like that a lot. But yeah, I personally don't think having Micah on this team would have made much of a difference. I still think we would have been a terrible defense even with Micah on this team. We would have had a great player. And I mean, it kind of is resemblant of the Herschel Walker situation because you had a terrible team, a terrible offense with one great player, and that was Herschel Walker. Jimmy makes the trade. You get all the draft picks. You're able to draft the guys you want. You built your Super Bowl roster off of that, which is why it's known as the Great Train Robbery or, Heist of the Century, whatever you want to call it. That's why it's so well known, is because Jimmy turned all those players that he traded for and turned them into draft picks. Here in this scenario, Jerry only got 2 first-round picks, one for next year and one for 2027. It is a much different situation than what we've experienced. So here's the thing, though. I know Eberflus is still sticking around because Jerry doesn't fire people mid-season. I think he's only done it once, and that was Wade Phillips in 2011. I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think they're going to make any desperate changes to this roster unless they go out and try to get somebody to help the defense, which I don't know if they will. I don't think it's happening. I think this is basically what you're going to see from the Cowboys all season long, and it's not going to look pretty at times. It definitely won't look pretty at times. They'll still win a few games. They might steal a couple games here and there, but it's not going to look pretty. It's not going to look pretty at all. So, going into next week, Sunday night game next week, you got the Falcons, who are going to be coming off Monday night game tomorrow night. Going to San Francisco on a short week to take on a 49ers team that is held together by duct tape and a prayer. Good news is they're probably getting Brock Purdy back for next Sunday night. Bad news is they just lost Fred Warner for the season. So some good, some bad. That's been the summary of the 49ers season thus far. They're 4-2. At the very least, they'll have a home game. Falcons, depending on how they decide to play that game, on paper they should be good for this game. We don't know what Michael Penix is going to show up for this game. Is it the Michael Penix that we saw a couple Sunday nights ago against Minnesota, where he did little to nothing, but at the very least didn't turn the ball over? Is it the Michael Penix who did absolutely nothing against Carolina and got shut out? Is it the Michael Penix that we saw dominate and have a great game against Washington? Who knows? Who knows? Jury's still out on Penix. A lot of people aren't sold on him still. A lot of people are still calling for Kirk Cousins to be the quarterback there. We'll find a lot about him tomorrow night when they play Buffalo. Bills coming in angry after that loss last week to New England. So that should be an interesting game to watch tomorrow night. But yeah, next time we come to you, it'll be post-game of that game. Falcons and 49ers should be an interesting week. Some of the games going on next week. Again, 2 Monday night games. Why, I don't know. Houston, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Detroit. One of those is really good. Both of those should be really good, actually. Cowboys hosting Commanders. Division game. If you have a Jeremy Krusky-Merritt in your fantasy team, please put him in because he's probably going to have a big game against us. Though still no Terry McLaurin and no Noah Brown probably for that game either, so that should be interesting. Giants going to Denver after the poor showing we saw from Denver today. That could be an interesting game matchup with the Giants there. You got the Colts and Chargers, which should be a good game. Eagles and Vikings should be a good game. You got Miami, Cleveland, pair of 1-5 teams after what we heard from Tua tonight. And, again, a lot of the media still calling for Shedeur Sanders to start in Cleveland. Okay. Interesting matchup. On the early morning game, we got one more London game, looks like. We might have a couple more European games still to go, but you got one more London game next week. You got the Rams and the Jaguars early Sunday morning. That should be a pretty good matchup, a pair of 4-2 teams. London is basically Jacksonville East at this point, so that should be a decent home game for them. Thursday night's matchup, you got the Steelers, who got a big win today, going up against the Bengals, who played well but just couldn't do enough to beat Green Bay in Lambeau today. So interesting matchups there. Carolina, New York, Jets are awful. Saints going to Chicago. Depending on how the Bears play tomorrow night, that could be a snoozer. Mike Vrabel. Speaking of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Vrabel going back to Tennessee after being fired a couple years ago. I think I mentioned this to Sam in his chat. By the way, go follow Mr. First Down if you haven't already. I think I mentioned to Sam in his chat earlier is that Vrabel is going to be out for blood in this game. I have a good feeling that he might run up the score in this game against the Titans next Sunday. So that should be a fun one to watch. Packers Cardinals might be an okay game. But yeah, if I had to highlight a couple of these games, I would say the London game looks pretty interesting. Pair of 4-2 teams with the Rams and Jaguars. I like the matchup with the Colts and the Chargers. Should be a pretty good game there with the Colts and at 5-1, Chargers 4-2, both getting big wins. Giants and Broncos kind of just got a little bit more interesting. And then, of course, the first Monday night game, you got Tampa Bay, Detroit after the loss tonight. And then Houston, Seattle might be a good Monday night game, too. You never know. But, yeah, that's going to be it tonight, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed Sunday Night Football. Again, Chiefs win 30-17. They are back. They're 3-3. They're about to be at full strength here pretty soon, and it looks like the reign of the Kansas City Chiefs has not quite come to an end just yet. So buckle up, NFL. It's about to get crazy. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Again, join us next week when we are here post 49ers Falcons matchup, Sunday Night Football. Until then, love y'all. Stay safe. By the way, want to promote before I officially go, promote the shows I will be doing this week. Tuesday on the mat, Let's Talk Sports with my buddy, Mr. First Down. We'll be talking about Crown Jewel from this past weekend. We'll also be talking about a great SmackDown that we saw, and then Coolers coming up Monday Night Raw tomorrow night. Also on Tuesday, Rec Room Sports, where I get to rant about Oklahoma State because, my God, that program has completely fallen off a cliff. But at the very least, they're still having fun in Section 321. If you know, you know. Hey, Michael, have a great night, man. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for hopping in and joining us tonight, man. It was great to have you in the comments. Also, baseball show Wednesday night. Myself, Jonathan Grishman, Scott Cobe. We did have an ALCS matchup tonight. Mariners have a 1-0 lead over the Blue Jays. So that's going to be fun to talk about. And, of course, we'll have the NLCS starting up here pretty soon as well. So we'll get to talk about the championship games and maybe preview what we're going to be talking about when we do our Hot Stove series here come the offseason. And then lock it in Saturday and Sunday. Lock it in Saturday, college football. Our Sunday show might be on Saturday night. We're still working that out because I believe Tanner's going to be at the Kansas City Chiefs game next Sunday. So we'll be figuring that stuff out. And then again, here next Sunday night where we talk 49ers and Falcons. All righty, guys. I'm going to get out of here, get to bed. Hope you guys have a wonderful night. We'll see y'all next Sunday. Love y'all. Stay safe. Take care.